Welcome to Ask Prep, your trusted companion for UPSC and IAS preparation. Today, we delve into an essential and thought-provoking topic in ethics and society, which is social justice in India. As a cornerstone of the Indian Constitution, social justice embodies the principles of equality, inclusivity, and fairness. It seeks to address historical injustices, promote the welfare of marginalized communities, and create an equitable society. For UPSC aspirants, understanding social justice is critical as it connects to themes like governance, constitutional provisions, affirmative action, and welfare programs. India's journey toward achieving social justice reflects a combination of reform movements, constitutional mandates, and government initiatives to uplift the underprivileged and bridge societal gaps. Through this session, we will explore the historical evolution of social justice in India, key constitutional provisions, major welfare initiatives, and challenges in achieving inclusive development. So, without further delay, let's get started. Introduction: Social justice refers to the fair and equitable distribution of resources, opportunities, and privileges within a society, ensuring that every individual, irrespective of their background, can lead a life of dignity and equality. In India, social justice holds a special significance due to its historical context of deep-rooted social inequalities based on caste, gender, religion, and economic status. The Indian Constitution enshrines the principles of social justice as fundamental to the nation's democratic framework. It aims to eliminate discrimination, reduce inequalities, and uplift marginalized and underprivileged sections of society through affirmative action, welfare programs, and legal safeguards. These principles align with the vision of creating an inclusive and equitable society where every individual can contribute meaningfully to nation building. Historical context: Pre-independence era, the roots of social justice in India can be traced back to the efforts of social reformers and movements that sought to challenge entrenched inequalities and discriminatory practices. Caste discrimination and untouchability: Jyotirao Phule advocated for the rights of lower castes and women. He founded the Satyashodhak Samaj, Society of Seekers of Truth, in 1873, focusing on dismantling the caste system and promoting education for marginalized communities. B.R. Ambedkar led the Dalit movement and campaigned for the eradication of untouchability. His efforts included empowering Dalits through education and advocating for political representation. Periyar E.V. Ramsamy spearheaded the self-respect movement, calling for the abolition of caste hierarchies and promoting rationalism and women's rights. Gender equality: Raja Ram Mohan Roy, known as the father of modern India, he championed the abolition of practices like sati, widow immolation, and child marriage. He was instrumental in the passage of the Sati Regulation Act, 1829. Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar advocated for widow remarriage and women's education, which led to the enactment of the Widow Remarriage Act, 1856. Educational and social reforms: Swami Vivekananda. Reformers like Swami Vivekananda emphasized the need for education to uplift marginalized communities and foster social change. Sir Syed Ahmad Khan. The Aligarh movement, led by Sir Syed Ahmad Khan, aimed to modernize the Muslim community through education. Collective movements: Mahatma Jyotirao Phule, the non-Brahman movement in southern India, led by leaders like Mahatma Jyotirao Phule and Periyar, questioned Brahminical hegemony and fought for equal rights for lower castes. Mahatma Gandhi, the anti-untouchability movement, driven by Mahatma Gandhi, worked to reduce caste barriers and integrate marginalized groups into society. Post-independence era. With independence in 1947, social justice became a cornerstone of India's democratic and constitutional framework. The vision was to create an egalitarian society by addressing historical injustices and promoting equal opportunities. Constitutional provisions: Equality and justice. The preamble of the Indian Constitution commits to securing justice, social, economic, and political and equality for all citizens. Fundamental rights. Articles like Article 14, Equality before the law, Article 15, Prohibition of discrimination, and Article 17, Abolition of untouchability, were enshrined to uphold social justice. Directive principles of state policy. DPSP, articles like Article 46 direct the state to promote the educational and economic interests of weaker sections, especially SCs, STs, and other disadvantaged groups. Affirmative action, reservation policies, quotas for scheduled castes, SCs, scheduled tribes, STs, and other backward classes, OBCs, in education, employment, and politics aim to address historical discrimination. Land reforms, post-independence, land reform policies, including the abolition of the Zamindari system and redistribution of land, sought to reduce rural inequalities. Social welfare programs. The government introduced schemes focusing on health, education, and housing for marginalized communities. For instance, schemes like the Integrated Rural Development Program, IRDP, and employment guarantee schemes aim to uplift the rural poor. Special provisions for women and children were implemented to address gender-based inequities. Movements for social justice, Dalit movements gained momentum in the post-independence period, demanding dignity and equality, inspired by B.R. Ambedkar's vision. The women's movement worked toward gender parity in areas like education, employment, and political representation. Constitutional provisions, fundamental rights. Article 14 ensures equality before the law and equal protection of the laws, laying the foundation for a just society. Article 15 prohibits discrimination based on religion, race, caste, sex, or place of birth, promoting inclusivity and fairness. Article 17 abolishes untouchability and forbids its practice in any form, addressing caste-based discrimination. Directive Principles of State Policy, DPSPs, Article 38, directs the state to secure a social order based on justice, minimizing inequalities in income, status, facilities, and opportunities. Article 39 calls for equal access to livelihood, equal pay for equal work, and protection of children and workers. Article 46 promotes the educational and economic interests of scheduled castes, SCs, scheduled tribes, STs, and other weaker sections. Fundamental duties encourage citizens to foster harmony and the spirit of brotherhood while renouncing practices derogatory to women and weaker sections. These constitutional provisions reflect India's commitment to building an equitable society where every individual has the opportunity to lead a life of dignity. Key areas of social justice, caste-based inequalities. Addressed through reservations in education, jobs, and political representation for scheduled castes, SCs, scheduled tribes, STs, and other backward classes, OBCs. Gender equality. Laws like the Dowry Prohibition Act, Domestic Violence Act, and Beti Bachao Beti Padhao scheme promote women's empowerment. Religious and cultural equality. Ensuring minority rights and preserving cultural identities. Economic justice. Policies like MGNREGA and the Public Distribution System, PDS, aim to reduce poverty and ensure livelihood security. Rights of marginalized groups. Legal recognition and rights for LGBTQ+ communities, persons with disabilities, and elderly populations. Government policies and initiatives, reservation policy. Quotas for SCs, STs, OBCs, and economically weaker sections, EWS, in education, employment, and legislature. Social welfare schemes. Midday Meal Scheme, National Social Assistance Program, and PM Jan Dhan Yojana. Special laws. Scheduled Caste and Scheduled Tribes, Prevention of Atrocities Act, 1989, Protection of Civil Rights Act, 1955. Judicial role in social justice, landmark judgments. Keswananda Bharati case, 1973 established the principle of the basic structure of the Constitution, including social justice. Indira Sahne case, 1992 upheld OBC reservations but limited the quota ceiling to 50%. Navtej Singh Johar case, 2018 decriminalized homosexuality, promoting LGBTQ+ rights. Challenges to social justice in India: caste-based discrimination, persistence of untouchability and manual scavenging. Gender inequality, wage gaps, crimes against women, and underrepresentation in leadership roles. Economic inequalities, widening income disparity and regional imbalances. exclusion of marginalized groups, inadequate implementation of welfare schemes, and limited access to resources. Conclusion: social justice serves as the cornerstone for fostering a harmonious, inclusive, and equitable society. While India has made commendable strides in addressing historical injustices and empowering marginalized groups, persistent inequalities and systemic challenges still need focused attention. Achieving social justice requires sustained efforts, effective governance, and the collective will of society. By upholding the principles of equality, dignity, and fairness, India can ensure holistic development, bridge socio-economic divides, and realize the constitutional vision of justice for all its citizens. At Ask Prep, we aim to bring such insights to help you prepare better for your UPSC and IAS examinations. Thank you. This is Ask Prep, Ask Us Anything, your guide to mastering UPSC and IAS preparation. Let's decode complex topics and simplify your journey to success.